guys, it's Vijay from the AK Mindset Pod, and today I'm happy to say that we'll be discussing the recently released Promised Neverland one-shot, We Were Born. It's always great to have some Promised Neverland content, especially with Season 2 hype on the way. I think Season 2 comes out today, so after this recording, you know what I'll be doing. But let's not lose focus, because this one-shot was really eye-opening and very entertaining, increasing our scope of the world, especially the events that were taking place on the human side. There are many similarities to events that happened in the world run by demons. For example, the nice parallels with the graceful kids and the young girl in this one shot, Rita, both who question the very reason for their existence due to how crazy the world around them is, both having to comprehend and internalize things they should be protected from, things that are way beyond their age. The Promised Neverland is always out here trying to pull on our heartstring, but not today. There will be no tears around here. We're gonna firm it. Regarding the events in this chapter, it seems to have taken place in the human world before the war that brought peace and balance. Obviously, thanks to Avatar Emma, who restored the balance in the world. We love to see it, but sadly this was before her time. So we see that the human world's in the midst of a civil war, which looks to be so brutal, it's actually crazy. If there was anyone thinking that the human side was doing good in this time period, this shatters that perception altogether. As we are shown, the war has taken a number of lives as well as causing a lot of chaos. There seems to be a lot of civil unrest, with some groups forming their own factions to survive or fight back. I'm presuming this due to the numbers. They don't seem to be large groups or seem to be organized military divisions. Plus, the weapons they use are not military grade at all. They're just knives, bats with nails embedded in them, and handguns. And due to the environment that we see they're in, these types of weapons would be easily to come by, I presume. They just look like a bunch of civilians who are trying their hardest to survive and fight against the oppression that they are facing. We are introduced to Leo and Rita, and you know times are tough when you end up whipping out a gun on a little kid. And that's not even the most wild thing that happens. The thing that's really unsettling is the fact that she didn't react. That means she's used to seeing guns drawn on a regular basis. And that's not the life I'll be up for. Because if that was me, you know, I'll be 10 toes down, gone, like the Flash. And this obviously catches Leo's attention as well, as he's wondering why a little child is not scared. Like, he's legit pulled a gun out on her. She should react in some way, even going as far as stating he's a villain and a gang member, to at least see some sort of reaction from her, which would be normal in that situation. She simply replies with, "If someone is dying in front of you, you have to try and save them." Oh my days. A queen. That's a real angel right there. We need to protect her at all costs. The father of the church that they're situated in, Mr. Mendel, then walks in and prior to her leaving the room has a conversation with Leo, explaining the events of Rita's life and what has made her into the individual she is today in terms of the ideal she holds. And she was left on the church steps as a baby. Because of this, she unconsciously tries to be so overly useful to others in the hope that she won't be rejected or given away, which is the saddest thing. But it makes sense. That then explains why her behavior towards him, even though he did pull out a gun on her, was so like accepting and like understanding and not reacting in a negative way, because she's fearful that this will cause him to then leave her, even if he doesn't know her or this is the first interaction they've had. On top of everything that we've seen to be taking place. This really shows us the real sense of helplessness that is being created by the civil war and the deaths and the trauma everybody is going through, with most of the characters having a negative outlook on life, to the point where they question if life is actually precious, which is made even more worse by individuals taking advantage of this helplessness for their own gain. And one of those individuals is Mr. Mendel, who's running this home or orphanage and has sold Rita off to a wealthy man whose daughter needs an organ transplant, with Rita being the only one who matches exactly with his daughter. There is no real difference between the demon world or human world. They both perpetuate the same sort of evil. They both create the same sort of environments where bad things and bad people tends to thrive. I would even argue that the humans are way worse because they hide behind fake words and actions. Mendel was really out here trying to use religion to make Rita believe her sacrifice and dying to save that man's daughter was something noble. How sick, man, can these people get? The Promised Neverland always does a great job in showcasing the darkness of human nature and what kind of evil things people just do. It's actually scary that people are able to have this kind of thoughts and go through with it with no sort of guilt. After seeing all this, Leo goes and tries to return the favor, attempting to save Rita's life, which he does in dramatic fashion. And this act of someone going out of their way to save her really went a long way in restoring her faith. Coming so close to death, Rita was able to find a will to live, no matter the environment or situation, really understanding that her existence is enough. Being alive and being born into this world is enough for her to live. Like, she doesn't need any other reason. That's just enough. The most significant and interesting bit of this one shot comes closer to the end when we meet the sick girl, Margot. Whilst witnessing everything that took place, she also comes to a revelation on the subject of life and its meaning, asking her dad if that also applied to her and how she now wants to live her life for something, which happens to be writing a story, and disclosing the fact that this story will be about how each of our lives have meaning makes a lot of people come to some sort of conclusion that Margot wrote the Promised Neverland, which I know sounds wild and far-fetched, and you're wondering why is this even necessary? Why would we need a story within a story? But me personally, I just think that would be such an interesting concept, that a child within this world was so traumatized by her experience that to cope, she then wrote a story that showcased a lot of lessons and showcased the interactions between demons and children as a reflection of humanity, inspired by the Civil War itself and how not everyone in each side is actually bad. Even though there is a lot of people who are at a conflict that seems to not be able to be resolved, individuals within those groups, some are able to find common ground, some are able to come together and help each other fight for peace and freedom. We saw this in the main story. We saw this when demons who you would think or presume are evil were actually helping Norma, Ray, and the whole gang. They were trying to help them fight for a better future, a much brighter future where all of them can be safe. So if this happens to be true and we continue to get more chapters where we follow this girl's, Margot's journey and her experience and how that influenced her writing the Promised Neverland, and really meet the real life or real world individuals who inspired those characters that she then went on to write about, that would be mind-blowing. That would be so sick, and I'll be really impressed with that. And you know me, I'm happy to get any type of Promised Neverland content. Like this series, the anime and manga, is all hype for me, so enjoyable. And I do genuinely believe that they haven't scraped the surface in terms of the world and the characters and what they can offer, and the vast amount of other stories that can be told. So hopefully this is the beginning to something greater, and this one shot is hopefully not a one-off, and maybe another manga series following this storyline will be created. Hope you guys enjoyed this video on my thoughts regarding this chapter and this one shot. If you did, it would be nice, it would be great if you show some support by dropping a like or even subscribing to the channel. Would love to hear your thoughts on this one, so drop a comment as well if you feel inspired. And that's it for me, and as always, I'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace.